Okay, looks like a little red light is flashing again. Uh, this, I think, is the video I've been waiting to give. And I'm going to read I keep a journal of things that have been happening here. And so this is the journal entry from November 3rd, 2023. It is November 9th right now. And I'm Grant House. This is filmed where I live in Western Illinois. So the entry I made is at 9:41 p.m. on November 3rd. We left the Dream Big Quincy High fundraiser at Ambiance in Quincy. I was honoring James Stewart, and when he finished the interview that he gave, we were driving home. So it's about 9 o'clock, and driving south in the slow lane on I-72, halfway between the Broadway exit in Quincy, Illinois, and the Route 96 exit. At the place where it starts going down the hill. We were going downhill, and we drove past something standing uncomfortably close to the yellow line on the 4-lane highway. If the passenger side tires had hit the rumble strip, I would have hit whatever this was. And I was with somebody, and they saw it too. And at about 65 miles an hour, I wasn't going the speed limit. It was like 1,001, 1,000, and it was over. I mean, I saw it in the headlights. The brights were on automatic, so at that particular time they were on dim. I don't think it would have made much of a difference. And just about as quickly as you saw it, you went by it. It didn't reflect light. The person I was with thought it was about the color of a deer's belly, a light, that would make it a light tan color. I saw it in shades of gray out of the corner of my eye. And it was upright. We went by it, and I said, "Did we just drive by something?" And the person I was with said, "Yes." I said, "That wasn't a deer, was it?" And they said, "No." And I said, "You didn't see a 5-foot tall owl, did you?" I mean, I didn't, and I know they didn't either. I was making a joke. And then I said, "I think we just saw a Sasquatch." And they agreed. It was about, let me get back to what I actually wrote. I didn't really notice a color, just more light and shadow. I would agree that it was not black or dark, but very light and like a ghillie suit, but not exactly. Like driving past a ghost. That's a metaphor. I haven't driven past a ghost, but imagine. It was about the size of a door with a bump in the middle, but no neck. Like there was a bump where a head should be. No neck, and it reminded me of the evergreen hemlock tree in our yard. A kind of a shaggy look to the whole thing. A moment later, I asked, "Did we just drive by something?" They said yes. Was it a deer? We agreed it was upright. I said, "I think we just saw a Sasquatch." They agreed, and I have been telling whatever it is I'm interacting with out here that I feel like I'm ready to see them, and I think we just did. It was not huge, more like 6 or 7 feet, but larger than me. I'm 5'11", in height and width, and that's why I say it was about the size of a door in that brief moment. Taller than the car. We were in a Chrysler van, minivan kind of thing. And if my passenger hadn't seen it too, I would doubt myself that I'd seen it. It was brief. You just went right by it. It was way too close to the car. And I've been driven by that spot a couple of times, and there's nothing there. There's nothing too close to the road. Then And this is why you should talk about this stuff when you find people you can talk about. I mentioned this to a couple of our neighbors, and I'm talking to them, and all of a sudden, as I'm saying this, the husband's eyes get kind of large, and he says, "Grant is telling my story. I'd forgotten to tell you," he said to his wife. "I forgot all about this." But about a week or so ago, and when he was driving home from Quincy after dark, there was something extremely large, tall, and very dark with 1 foot in the slow lane where he was. He just saw it and went by it. He said his heart was racing because he was afraid he had almost hit somebody, but he knew it was too big. And by the time he got home, he had forgotten all about it and had not mentioned it to his spouse until I told them our story. And he said it's like the same thing. And the description of the whole event is very, very similar. And that's the incident. It took a second and a half. Now, if you're new to the channel, I try to only put stuff on here when I've either had some sort of interaction or when I've found research that has something to say about this or some related subject. And I don't give my opinion a lot on here because people's opinions really don't matter that much. So I discount my own opinion, pretty much. But I'm pretty sure we saw one. I'd been letting them know that I think I'm ready to see them. And so in the last, about the week or 10 days before that, I'd had a very close encounter with an owl. A little screech owl flew out of the hemlock tree between where I'm filming this, my studio, and the stone house. Flew right at my knees. I heard its wings hitting the branches, because owls don't make any noise. Their feathers don't make any noise when they fly. I heard thumpy thump thump as it came out of the tree, and I saw it go past me right in front of me and flew up in a tree on the left and sat there for about 5 minutes. It was after dark. I put my flashlight on it and just kind of talked to this owl for 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, until it flew away. And then a couple nights later, I was sitting out on the second floor deck here at the studio and saw some sort of a strobe light in the sky. I've been seeing strobes up there occasionally, but this was unusual because the strobe light, just like an old camera flash bulb, it would strobe brightly and then less brightly. It would be in the same spot, then it would move around a little. If you stuck your arm out and just made a circle with your arm, that's about the area of the sky that it stayed in for about 5 minutes. And I came down and made a report about it. I went back up and I looked around and I saw a strobe then in the Milky Way galaxy. And then about the second time it strobed, it went south so fast that the strobe appeared as a streak going south, and then it was gone. So those are the two events that led up to this brief encounter on the roadside, which is a classic because we had just come from the James Stewart event and we were talking about James Stewart. Our mind, and my mind, was not on this at all. And that's when those things usually happen. So that's the account. I want to thank my new subscriber, WW, for subscribing. And to all my other subscribers, thanks for hanging in there. And if you're newer to this channel, I researched the writings in the articles, I refer to them as the writings of a little-known mystical Eastern faith. And in that way, anyone that has an interest in what those writings have to say, they're in the footnotes to the articles, and they can go on bahai.org/library, bahai.org/library, and look up, vet whatever it is I used in the article. whichever quote it was, and then see what its natural habitat is. You can see what other things they're talking about with that particular quote if it's of interest to you. And my purpose in doing this is to help make the world of ufology aware that these writings exist, that the writings of the Baha'i Faith are out there, available and searchable. I don't care what anybody thinks about what the religion teaches as a religion per se, but it has a lot to say about the timeline of human civilization being much, 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 much older than what we're told in school books. Not that school books are wrong, but they cut it off too soon. They cut off the timeline of civilization a little bit sooner. And forbidden archaeology, things like Graham Hancock's documentary on the ancient apocalypse, things like that, show that there is evidence out there that we need to look into further. Likewise with UFOs, ETs, and various cryptids of various kinds. People encounter them and they don't talk about them. There's no shame in talking about them. Scientists are supposed to follow the data wherever it leads. And if they don't do that, and nobody calls them to account, they will never do that. So anyway, that's what this channel is about. So if you've just encountered it, feel free to delve into the past episodes on here, because mostly what they do is I will comment on and read the research from the articles which have been published in the Mutual UFO Network Journal, which is an international journal online and in print. MUFON has about 5,000 members, and the journal is archived. So you could also join MUFON for like a month or two. They have a monthly membership, and I think that will give you access to the archives, and you could go in there and read them. In the last couple of years, I've been in the journal either in consecutive months or about every other month for a total of about 14 times. So if you want to read what I have to say in the journal, that's one good way to do it. I recommend joining MUFON because they have a lot of good things to, there's a lot of information in there that you might find useful. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have anything to add, put it in the comments and I will try to get back with you. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.